Today we're going to be going over some fantastic 10 out of 10 men's fragrances that I'm never going to stop talking about. These are pretty much going to be getting brought up until the end of time on this channel. And to some extent, not necessarily like placements and list videos, which that will be the case a lot of times. But as you guys know, one thing I try to do is to not include discontinued fragrances in lists, okay? But these are ones that might get discontinued, a couple of them, at some point in the future, you know? And I might not be placing them in lists directly, but I'll definitely be referencing back to them, you know, maybe if I'm talking about another scent from the brand or something that smells similar to it. I'll always say like, hey, do you remember this or that particular fragrance or whatever it is? So just kind of wanted to clarify that as well. I think there's a good chance that quite a few of these are going to be around for a long time. And again, I think a few of these might eventually go away soon. Maybe some have. So with that being said, we're just going to get things kicked off with John Varvatos Dark Rebel Rider. Now this is one that is getting harder to find. It's still possible. It's still doable. It's not to the level that some other discontinued fragrances are to where, you know, I stopped featuring it altogether. This is probably going to be like the last hoorah for this one. You're probably not going to see it too many more times in lists, but trust me, whenever I come across anything else that smells somewhat similar to this or reminds me of this, or just when I'm talking about John Varvatos in general, like some of their biggest hits, some of their classics, Dark Rebel Rider is always going to be coming up. I mean, this stuff is absolutely unforgettable for me, so you're going to hear about it often for years to come. It's got leather, cedarwood, and iris, along with a ton of other notes, a lot of them. These older John Varvatos fragrances come packed with extensive note breakdowns, which I think is really cool, and it's not as common anymore. I was just talking about this the other day with another one, Artisan Aqua. And that one is also one that's getting a bit harder to find, but I'm still probably going to talk about it a lot too. I mean, they have some really, really good hits that are just kind of ingrained in the fragrance community to me. This one is probably going to be more of a popular choice. It's one of the more popular, hyped up John Varvatos scents. And same with the original Dark Rebel too. It's amazing. Between the two, Dark Rebel Rider I think was the more popular choice. It's probably a bit more wearable, mass pleasing. The original Dark Rebel, very smoky. You know, some people say kind of borderline ashtray smelling, which I don't think quite to that level, but definitely does have a smokiness to it beyond a lot of other scents out there. This one, it's really a nice refined leather scent. Leather, sweet notes, woods, resins, absolutely beautiful. And at one point it was really affordable. Now things have changed up a little bit. But regardless, this is one that I'm going to talk about for a long, long time. I mean, this stuff is just truly impressive for what it's worth, and you take everything into consideration, it's great. Next up, we have Hugo Boss Bottled Oud. So what I like so much about this one and why it stands out is because it kind of smells like the original Boss Bottled, and more specifically Boss Bottled Intense, just with a little bit of oud. So unfortunately, Boss Bottled Intense discontinued and has been for a while, and it's a fantastic one. Definitely, again, at one point in time, one of the more popular choices from the brand and from the Boss Bottled lineup. This is kind of smelling similar to that, really focusing in on the apple and the cinnamon. But the only minor difference is that there's a little bit of oud in here. Now you would think with a scent named after oud, you know, like oud is in the title, you would think it would be potentially overbearing. Some might think that. I know when I was going into this one, I was thinking, yeah, it might be a bit too much. Guys, it really isn't. There is not an overwhelming prevalence of oud in here. It's very, very tasteful, very light, and really, I don't think too many people are going to have a problem with this one at all. Even if you hate that note, you hate the sound of it, you don't like how it smells, I think you would be surprised on how easy this one still is to pull off and wear and enjoy, and how many people around you are just going to go crazy for this stuff. It smells just like the season of fall. You know, you're getting that cinnamon, apple, kind of dessert, gourmand smell. I mean, it's perfect for autumn. It smells just reminiscent of everything you would expect for that time of year to smell like. Same with Boss Bottled Intense. So this is one I'm going to talk about for a long time. Absolutely love it. And for the most part, it's pretty affordable. Testers come in, it's pretty cheap, $50-ish, which these days is pretty reasonable for a designer. Next up, we have a newer scent from Brioni. You know, they started off their Brioni Eau de Parfum line a couple years ago, and they've been putting out a new one pretty much every year. I'm curious to see if and what they might put out potentially this year, because they haven't really created a miss yet, in my opinion. And we have, 4 of them now in total. They've all been really good and exceeded my expectations. This one is currently the newest one. It's Brioni EDP Essentiel. So we've got bergamot, some patchouli, and tomato in here. So tomato is always an interesting one that kind of throws people off. To me, it's kind of like a green tomato leaf accord, giving it a green smell and kind of an aromatic nature. You're getting a bergamot off the top, nice and bright. And the patchouli, that's pretty common across the lineup. It's used pretty heavily in Brioni EDP Intense, and they're carrying over that same style of patchouli into this one, giving it a mature, kind of woody, sophisticated depth with the aromatic notes, the green notes, and all of that. This stuff is unreal. It is so unique, and I don't have anything else that smells like this or similar to it. And that's including, really, for the most part, the other Brioni EDP scents. There is no redundancy within the lineup when you compare really any of them, and especially when you compare this to the others. There are small little nuances that might tie it back to some of those existing ones a little bit, but not a lot. So you could buy this and you could buy all of them, and they're not really going to overlap, which I think is great. And that's a key component when it comes to flankers. That way you're getting essentially a new product, something exciting each time. And that's the case here. So really is a great way to stand out with this one. And I just think it is just super interesting. It's perfect to wear in spring. I'm still going to pull this one off in summertime if I'm in the mood for it and I want something a bit more sophisticated and classy and kind of suitable for a more dressed up situation. But this one is really good, and it's hitting discounters now. Price is coming down a little bit. These are great bang for your buck scents. So next up, we have a niche product here. This is going to be the only niche scent in this video. And of course, I could have gone for many other choices, but this one is going to live on for a long time. It's Parfums de Marly Layton. And here's the deal. Even if I'm not talking about Layton itself, I'll always be talking about one of the clones. You know, Alharamain Detour Noir. There's also Amber Oud Exclusive Blue, and then many more clones as well. I'm always going to be talking about something that smells like Layton. So if you don't want to spend the money on this, which is around $200 if you're lucky, otherwise it's retailing for mid 300s, like $365. If you're not wanting to spend anywhere in that range, there are clones out there for as low as 20 bucks. So you can get into this one no matter what your price range is. It just depends on if you want to have the real deal with the real name and the real bottle, or something in a clone bottle that still kind of gets the job done just the same. And I just think that this is kind of the new Aventus. I'm not the only one that thinks that. I didn't come up with that. It's kind of just how things are now in terms of men's fragrances being sweeter, and that's kind of the new trend. This one took off like crazy. It's niche, it's expensive, it's got that luxury component. It's like the modern Aventus. It smells nothing like Aventus, but it is doing a similar thing. Again, you know, I'm not saying that this is as good as or better or worse or anything like that, but as far as its popularity is concerned and the way that it got popular and the way that it's going to continue to be and the way that there are so many clones already, this one's going to live on for a long time. And I love the scent as well. I think it's amazing. I love it for the cooler weather, so I'm always going to talk about this stuff. So if those were a little bit too expensive, let's jump over to something that's going to offer some more affordability here. This one is Ferragamo Uomo Signature. So we've got coffee, leather, and tonka bean in here. It's a very sweet scent, but what makes this one different from the original is the leather and the coffee. It gives it a heavier, richer undertone to balance out the overwhelming sweetness that you get from the original, which is also a great scent. But I would say for a lot of people, this one might make a bit more sense. It's just more refined and it's not as overwhelming. You know, sometimes scents that sweet, like the original Ferragamo Uomo, can just be a bit too much, you know, and you might just not be in the mood for it. This one's still very sweet, don't get me wrong, but it is more mild and subdued because there's just more going on to balance that out. I think this one is, I don't know, in the $40 range. They kind of vary, and testers and full presentation and all that unboxed can change the pricing by quite a bit. So, but it's one that you can pretty consistently get for under $50. We'll just kind of call it there, making it one of the more affordable offerings in this video that I definitely love and will talk about for years to come. This next one is a fantastic summer scent that also isn't crazy expensive either. And it's one that I don't see going away anytime soon. You know, like I said, a few of these here are kind of written on the wall. They're just going to go away at some point due to the life cycle of how fragrances are put out these days. With flankers, it just makes sense they're going to get pushed to the side. Some of them maybe have already started to. I don't see this one really going anywhere for a long time. It's a bestseller. It's a big hit. It's Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. So this one just has the amber wood. It's got the salty notes, the aquatic notes, all of that good stuff. Wrapped up into an eau de parfum, Eau Intense, stronger and richer, better version of what the original is. And that original Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue for men is already a bestseller. To me, this one is better in every way. It makes more sense to get this one. It makes the original obsolete to me. So, you know, another great option would be Light Blue Forever, Light Blue Italian Love. Those are a couple of their best works ever within this lineup. And of course, those are already discontinued and gone. I'm still going to talk about those for years to come, and there's clones out there now, which is great. But again, this is a more safe option that I just don't see going away anytime soon, which means that I'll just be able to continue to feature this one in spring and summer list videos for years to come until I ever got sick of it, which I don't think will probably happen. It just smells like a vacation scent, you know? I don't know why I've created that correlation so strongly, but when I smell this, I just think of vacation in the summertime. It's a beauty of a scent. It smells great. I can't get enough of it. Running down to the end with Chanel Platinum Egoiste. This is an aromatic fougere, and even though it's been out for a while, it is a modern smelling aromatic fougere scent. It's great. I mean, guys, this stuff might surprise you if you are convinced that barbershop scents, aromatic fougères, they're all old man smelling, okay? A lot of them are, okay? I like them, but it is kind of true, at least when you weigh them up against what new scents smell like. There's a massive difference in how they're composed. This one still does have kind of an out-of-the-shower, soapy, more modern approach to an existing DNA, which has been around for years at this point. They really did this one great. And again, it's not new. This has been out for a long time, but it smells like it could have been released last year, just with the level of kind of modernization that they've done to this one. Mainly that soapiness, that almost kind of like they brought somewhat of the shower gel style into this scent. It's not straight up like a blue scent like Dylan Blue or even like Blue de Chanel or something, but it just, they know what they're doing. They you know, don't put out too many fragrances, obviously, as we know. We've been waiting on a new one forever. But when they do, they just do it right. Last up for this video, we have Roberto Cavalli Uomo. This guy's usually pretty affordable, $40 range, sometimes a bit less. We've got focus. There we go. Oh, there it is. It's just probably, yep, okay. It's got violet, honey, and lavender in here. Really unique for what it is. It's going to be more of a cooler weather-oriented scent with a kind of a dusty, powdery nature from the tonka violet, and then this kind of syrupy sweetness from the honey in here. And honey and violet usually goes together pretty well. It's not used all that often in the grand scheme of things, but this one does smell nice. There's a real nice kind of aromatic freshness too to balance that out, so it doesn't go too sweet. And you could probably pull this one off in spring and indoor summer, you know, if you're staying inside and it's not going to be too hot. You really wouldn't have too much of a problem with this. Could pretty much do that for most things out there. But, you know, there's just enough of a freshness to kind of counteract some of the sweetness and powderiness and dustiness that's going on. And, you know, if this one was going for 90 bucks on discounters, it would still be a great scent. But the fact that you can get this one for, again, $35 to $40 makes it really impressive. You know, when it comes down to the, you know, that point where you're talking about pricing and you're able to get something that is this unique for that low of a price, it's definitely something that's worth noting. So I'll be talking about this one for as long as they make it, and if they stop making it, I'm never going to forget about it. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some fantastic 10 out of 10 men's fragrances I'm just never going to stop talking about. I'll link these down below, and here's the deal. If you want to be notified of brand new releases hitting discounters, rare and discontinued fragrances hitting discounters. Jump on my mailing list by entering your email at the link down below, and jump on my texting list by sending any text to the number down below. You guys will be the first to know about anything good that's popping up. It happens often than you think, and if you're not on those lists, you're just going to be missing out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.